Wow.
So at first, it's actually a slow start and picks up speed, but that was a pretty fast, absolutely silent start. In the olden days when it was compressed air, you'd hear all kinds of hissing and all kinds of semi-scarier sounds than this. So this is a very smooth start. And what's happening now is the bridge is turning, but you don't see an opening yet. At the beginning, it takes a while until that corner over there clears here. No boats can get through. What you'll see when we get to the middle is there's a center pier in here. It's a big granite ring you'll see. And then you'll look at the top of it when it comes around, and you'll see that there's something on wheels. And that's a circular ring of wheels that it rides on a railroad track, and it's actually sort of pitched leaning in. You can't tell that unless you see a real plan in a cross-section.
The rail goes all the way along here?
No, the rail is in the middle. Out in the middle, there's a circular pier with a ring on it. And inside of that, each of those wheels has spokes coming to the center, so the wheels will turn. But that entire ring is powered that on the inside where you can't see it. On North Washington Street, the ring is on the outside and you can see it. On this one, the teeth face inward on the inside of the pit, so you don't see it. But there's two gears that are engaged. Two gears each this big that are powered up by the two motors right there that make this bridge turn. Yeah, it is a very strange effect when it's turning. So this bridge opens on demand. When a boat is coming, the rules change at different times through the year. I think we have a 1 hour notice on this bridge, right? Okay, so
during summer, it's speeding up. 7 a.m. to 11 p.m.
Just
And
open?
then on demand. 11 to 7, 2 hour notice.
So at night, right. So this thing can open day and night. There's always somebody. So that house right there is what we call the tender's house now.
Wow.
That over there was the tender's house. And the whole area, once it opens up, you'll see what we call a fender system. Out in the middle, that fender system is to protect that pier. But once upon a time, that fender system had a solid deck covering the entire thing. And in the summertime, the city of Boston actually had a picnic for the employees of the city of Boston out in the middle of that thing. There's photos of people all dressed up. Now things get weird. Once the bridge passes you, you got the weird effect of seeing wide open spaces all of a sudden. And you get to see what this bridge is shaped like, and you get to see the wheels. If you guys were on the bridge, you wouldn't see any of that. Oh, we demanded it open now. It's opening special for us. And this was really nice of you. Like,
yeah.
Apology to the ones who are stuck outside because we have the bridge inspectors.
Yeah.
But some of the beautiful stay outside. It will not be the place closed for so
Right.
long.
Yeah.
We'll collect them up once we get out there. They'll be
So
okay.
they are concerned, maybe they're upset with me.
Yeah.
The problem is if you...
There was no information that we can't get in. Or
Yeah, I didn't know. I was on the inside. I would have. I didn't know you were out there.
What capacity do you want? Okay.
So my job now is actually my wife works for the company that's doing the inspection right now. My wife actually works for. My wife works for Trans-Systems. I work for a company called AECOM, and we all do about the same thing. We take care of infrastructure in general, mostly the transportation infrastructure. So my capacity now isn't so much directly with the city, but I get assigned bridges to inspect that happen to be city bridges, and I get assigned bridges. Most of what I'm doing is the central artery structures. Taking care of the Zachem Bridge and the ramps north and south of the city and the whole tunnel system. Okay, so this is far enough. So if you guys can see out in the middle, there's a pier out there. So in that pier in the middle, it's on a bunch of wheels. We're slightly up too high to actually see the wheels. And those wheels turn because there's a gear system that forces it to turn from the motors right there. So if you can picture, the bridge actually droops off on either side. So it actually sags down, and that was when we stepped out into the area in the middle. When you step down about 8 inches to a foot, that's the amount that it sags. And it sags, well, because think about it, any beam is going to sag somewhat when you're out in the middle. And this kind of bridge is actually, this kind of truss, when it's picked up in the air, all the members are loose. And only the ones that are supposed to function, when a live load goes over it, operates. So when you let it sag, a certain amount of extra sag is going to happen. But it's all expected, and if you look at any of these members, that are up here, that are visible, all the truss, this kind of old steel looks very rusty, but actually have a lot of section to them.
Do you have any D batteries? Vinny's wondering.
Do I have any D batteries?
Yeah.
It's a trick question.
No.
For the megaphone? No?
Oh, it takes C's. The C's are in the car.
Okay. All right.
They're all sitting in like the back window along the thing. Oh, that'd be cool. At least when we get to the Zaken, we'll have it.
But how much does this weigh?
Supported of the span?
The ends, back when it really functioned with traffic, we would pick it up. But we did every calc we could to determine whether it was safe to leave it hanging. And we determined it's absolutely safe to leave it hanging, so we don't pick it up.
But when it's actual, so it's something at the end.
Yeah, actually, you see this piston that's coming at us right now?
Yep.
A piston is it's a shaft. It's a shaft that would have compressed
ring
air
at the
inside of it. When that piston, when we would fire it up, and it would push down, that stem in the middle would push down, a shoe that we can't look at right now because it's straight below us and we'll get our head chopped off by the bridge, would pop into place and lift the bridge up in the air. But now we don't. It just sits.
So how much does this weigh?
I should know this. I've been asked this like a billion times, and I always just say a lot. But I really should tell somebody someday what it actually weighs.
Why did they remove the sculptures on the right-hand side again? The big sculptures of people who walk.
Oh, the walking one? Those are all
They were there
temporary.
for years.
Yeah, I don't know the story on the. I don't know what the reasons are. I know that we've had a whole bunch of different sculptures down the line. We had the tightrope walking guy and the floating one.
On this bridge, at the end of it, there was a lift walking.
Yeah. My guess is that the artists themselves probably took it out.
It belonged to the ICA over there.
Oh, it does.
Belonged to the museum.
Yeah, walked to the museum. Yeah.
What powers the motors now?
So the motors are powered by electricity running from the shore. So we ran a submarine cable, we call it.
This is all was done for this room.
Thank you.
It's actually, I'm sorry if any inconvenience to anyone who was stuck outside.
It happens. Right. The worst thing that could possibly happen is if the procedures are broken and a person comes walking and falls in.
Right.
And it's tricky. I've watched Steve and the crew time and time again get everybody off the bridge, and it really is a piece of work. It's a real challenge. It's a skill to get the bridge closed because people just appear, and they really want to get from side to side.
We have other bridges who jump over. And the other bridges are different. Other bridges sometimes you look there, you get lucky every once in a while. You see them on that moving fields. How did you get to it? You clear the area, but then someone decided to try to beat the bridge and bring it down.
The same thing as going around a railroad crossing.
Yeah, the same thing. It's just like going over past the railroad crossing. And the City of Boston ones, there's one that's not a City of Boston one, the one by the Science Museum. He is there with that speaker. I don't think he's ever opened that bridge without yelling at somebody. Like, people bypass that one like crazy. And it's funny, the police station is right there.
Were you saying that the section of this steel is thick enough so that we shouldn't be concerned about the rust at the moment?
I want everybody on the way back actually go up close and try to see how little the actual Rust is one thing, but rust isn't like a disease. It's like almost a surface coating in these cases. Look closely at what you think the original section was and how little loss there actually is to the steel. Especially with a lot of these older bridges, it's amazing how good the steel is. Now, I'm not saying that this bridge is perfect, actually. On the underside of the bridge, where it gets more exposed to the salt, there is a lot of rust, and that's why we closed it to real traffic in the first place. We were really concerned about